Hello.
Oh!
That went wrong. That went wrong. I was.
Hello.
I did a big fuck
Do
up.
you want us to run it again for you? I thought I'd unhide Rick after last week, so he'd be sitting there like that.
Ready and waiting.
So
So
at the bottom of the titles now, there's just Rick sitting there going.
Rick won twice there.
Yeah.
We're here. We're here.
We're here.
We're
Hello,
here.
hello, hello, hello. What number is it?
Hello. 95.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 95 of the Ideal Home Show. On tonight's show, we will be talking about squonking, stuff, heat flux,
Amanda
squonking,
Knox.
stuff, Amanda Knox, stuff, and the new K-Fun, and squonking. And we'll find out later on what's in Craig's drawers. We might have a mod showcase. We might have a Twitter account of the week, and we may have a troll of the week as well. What a jam-packed show!
I've got a really good one later on because I've got some really good life hacks later on. So it's like, yeah, it's actual
Life hacks.
stuff. Yeah.
That's
How to
right.
microwave silver foil safely.
Yeah.
A light bulb in water,
Yeah.
isn't it? A bowl of water.
It's quite good
How
if
to
it's
dry
quite
your
good fun.
batteries.
If you put a crisp packet in the microwave, that's quite good fun. Have you ever done?
Without
No.
the crisps. With crisps out, or?
Yeah, no crisps. You never done that?
We used to put them in the oven when we were kids to make the little key rings out of.
Yeah, similar situation.
Oh yeah. That was that was quite
Just
wasn't it?
quicker.
Life packs. Anyway, that's coming up later in the show.
Anyway,
Crisp packets in my
Yes, so let's crack on. So it's such a jam-packed show. We better crack on. John,
with the jar.
how has your week been? Where do you stand on cider? What did you have for breakfast? And what are you vaping on this evening?
How's my week been? It's been a very good week. Apart from I burnt my feet on the beach on Monday, so that's good.
Oh.
Sunbathing with sunscreen in my wife's bag, which didn't protect us. Which, you know,
Weird.
to be honest,
I blame Shelley.
Yeah.
odd. Yeah, I would.
Just on the topic.
She got more burnt than me.
So just on the topic of sunscreen, did you see the apparently there were a lot of cases in the US of people going to the doctors because they'd got sunscreen in their eyes from looking at the eclipse. And people had actually thought it would be a good. It's actually true. They thought if they put it in their eyes, they could look at the eclipse.
He did, but I thought the president had his own like doctor. Or did he just go to a GP or what?
Trump.
Yeah.
Was it Craig? Was it you that showed me that graph of Google searches?
That was good.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
something like, "What is the eclipse?" Was like that on the chart, going up and up and up, right the way up to the eclipse, and then after that, it went down rapidly, and my eyes went up on Google searches. Absolutely amazing. Only in America.
It was really good. Yeah. No, I just burnt my feet. But weird, I did it about 2 weeks after Simon got burnt. My boss got burnt to shit in January from not wearing sunscreen because he didn't realise you could get burnt in the shade. Yep, he's a 36-year-old man. Just think about that for a second. But yes, it's been a good week. It feels long, even though we had Monday off. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Where do I stand on cider? I stand firmly on I like a quite a dry cider. So like a Magners, Bulmers, that's piss. But Magners with ice, I can drink. Those fruit ones, I can't tell what fruit it's supposed to be because they're so fucking sweet.
They just
Yeah,
pop
the
out.
Cockburg are very sweet, aren't they?
Yeah.
I quite like it. I quite like it once in a while, though.
No,
Yeah, I had it at Vape Fest last year. Vape Fest last year, it did win 9:30 in the morning. A can of dark fruits, and it was quite good.
Too sweet, too sweet. What did I have for breakfast? I had honey and ginger Marks and Spencer's Greek style yogurt. Really nice. It's got stem ginger in it. It's good. It's good. And a coffee.
What did the other lads on the construction site say when you had that?
They just.
Did you put brown sauce on it, John?
It was in a paper bag. It wasn't in a bowl. It was in a paper bag.
I put it between 2 slices of bread. Just ate it with the tub. Bucket.
Bacon.
Yeah,
Very
that's
nice.
what I did. What am I vaping on? On first, well, not the weird one. I'm showing it around everywhere this week. The first thing I'm vaping on is the Vapresso Aurora. Which is the Zippo style. It doesn't look. This is a really horrible copper color because it was the only one they had in stock. Let me just open it. Put the spout up. It's the only one they had in stock on the site I used. I wanted a brushed silver one, but they didn't have one. They had one with a pair of lips on it called something like Hot Lips, and one with a skeleton on it. And I just thought it's naff enough looking as it is.
You should have got the Hot Lips one. Oh.
Yeah, I just thought it looked like I was trying too hard. The way it works, you'll never see this because I know my camera's shit. But there's a little tank on the end here and a ceramic coil which screws onto the end.
It's a little clearomizer sort of thing then. Okay.
No, it's like it's just a normal coil, but there's a ceramic coil, on the end.
All right.
Like that. The bottom of the tank is the coil.
Not what I was expecting.
And chuck it away. Yeah.
I thought it'd be like dropping the coil into a juice bucket type thing.
No, yeah, you think that would be in there, but no. And then it's got a magnetic bit on the bottom. I'll try and make it make the noise on my microphone. This is the noise it makes when you put it in properly.
Ah.
And when you actually turn the mouthpiece, it turns the entire tank, so it doesn't really make any difference. And I've made, this is good. I made 18 milligram, 20% raspberry mix by doing something that I think is genius. I got a 20 milligram nick shot. I took 2 ml out of it and squirted it down the sink, and I put 2 ml of raspberry mint in it, and then I ended up with 10 ml of 18 milligram.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Raspberry mint. The only thing I had to change though is when I first mixed it, it was 80-20. And that was too thick for the coil. It works, but it didn't feed great. And then I changed it to about 60-40 VG-PG. And it's been wicking away a treat.
Are the nick shots you've got then in PG? Or in VG?
I've got both.
You could have just used a PG one then, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't have had any VG in it.
I could have, but I have I'm going to call it a slight PG sensitivity above.
Not an intolerance.
Anything above 50%. It doesn't really agree with me. I get a dry mouth from it, so I don't use it.
Oh,
it's just 65. But this is it in action. It's just draw. What's it called? No, it's got an air switch.
It's suction activated, is it? Is it responsive?
It's like is like playing animal, vegetable, mineral with a vape. It's like, is it responsive? Yeah.
Really having to weed it out. What's the battery capacity, John?
The battery capacity is quite weird because it differs from the instructions and the box. Because I think the box is 800 mAh and the instructions say 750, but I'd probably say 750.
They've done well to get that in there.
The air is actually comes from around the tank. It's not coming from below, or possibly. Oh, and there's a little window on the side, so you can tell how much liquid you've got.
Oh
But
yeah.
everybody seems to want me to find this really disappointing on the group. But actually, I think it's a gimmick, and it is gimmicky looking. But I think it's good. I haven't got a problem with it, actually. I think it's funky. It's a holiday vape for me. Then my wife just...
It's only gimmicky looking because it's been done before. The form factor makes perfect sense. Like it did when it was a lighter.
Yes, exactly, yeah. My wife's review of it is... Oh, you look a dick.
I was going to say, when I saw you on it, I thought it looked a little bit pervy.
Pervy?
You looked a bit pervy vaping it for some reason.
That's just John, though, isn't it?
I think it's John. It's whenever he vapes, he kind of looks a bit sexual.
Oh, does it? Good stuff.
Go on. He's not doing it now. Oh.
Again, in a second. There's 3 things to vape on left, so you know, gonna get your
off.
Yeah, and don't forget we've got a jam-packed show.
Oh yeah, jam-packed. The next thing I have got is the Wasp on top of my little rock mods. Box. And in that I have Nata E-Liquids Portuguese custard tart. And I just got the coil in that I built when we were doing the show last week, which is NI80 flat wire. And that's what I've got going on. Oops.
It's good, isn't it? That little Wasp's really good, isn't it?
Is it as good as everyone says, John? The Wasp?
Oh, yeah.
Right coil in it and the position, I will say it's pretty good. But if you get it wrong, it's really shit. The argument I don't get is people who say, "Oh, it's fucking bit too airy for me." Fucking, have you ever heard of AFC? Just turn it down. I don't understand that.
Arsenal Football Club.
It can go pretty tight. It can go pretty tight, that thing can.
Yeah, I get it. I put about 1.5 mil on both sides, and does one for me.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah.
Next up, I've still got the SQ with a goon on top. And in that, I put it in on Friday, and I fucking haven't had it for ages, which is lychee cactus punch from justadnick.co.uk. I put it in there on Friday, and it's great. It's really, really, if you're one for higher nicotines, say 12, which I still say is medium nicotine, then enjoy it. It is really, it does go well with high nic. I really like that. Next up, and by no means least, is the Dacus Armad.
That looks bigger than usual.
Wow.
That looks bigger than usual, actually.
Look at it. It's tiny.
It's it's not like a Serpent Mini, is it?
Nano, that. Look. See, look. If you hold it up against this, look at it. It's tiny.
It's not it's not small like a Serpent or something like that. Is it?
Tiny. Yeah, it's the Nano. Anyway.
Yeah, but Nano it should be smaller than a Mini.
It is smaller than the Mini. They do a Mini. That's bigger than this.
Have you seen the size of a Mini? I mean, even the wheels are bigger than it.
They've made them bigger now, Minis, haven't they? So it's sort of apt, isn't it? I suppose they're not.
I suppose so, yeah.
Minis are quite big now. So that's where they got their inspiration from for the size naming.
The 2-door van version of the new Mini is one of the ugliest fucking things I've ever seen. Horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw Mr. and Mrs. Dacus actually. When was it? Sunday evening. We went out for a steak dinner. I didn't have a steak, but we did go to a steak restaurant.
What did you have?
A lovely meal. I had a rack of ribs.
Oh, we love Mike. We love Mike. We love you, Mike.
Do like Mike? Oh,
we do.
You like Mike? Yeah, it was very pleasant.
Likes Mike.
Halfway between us. Mike's only I don't know, 11 miles away, 12 miles away.
You're lucky you've got Mike living so near to you, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a bit special.
I am.
Yeah.
I will even use Mike's joke on him. He popped down to Just Had Nick HQ last week, and when he was in there, my boss popped in, and Mike said, he went, "Oh, you do know I'm going to burgle you now?" And I went, "What?" And he went, "Oh, it's just part of the thing. I am black." He said it. He said it. I didn't say it. He said it. That's everything I've got. Next up, Craig. How's your week been?
Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast? What are you vaping on? And have you ever owned a lava lamp, and what did it look like? Or what if you didn't? Or if you didn't, explain one of your friends' lava lamps.
I can remember from when I didn't, and I will describe one of my friends, which was, those fucking things were hotter than the fucking sun, weren't they?
They really
Yeah,
got warm,
they heat up the wax, didn't they? That's how they work.
I mean, but even then, it was like, fucking hell, they're insane. It's just this. You didn't need central heating.
I don't think it was wax, Rick. I'm pretty sure it was lava.
It may have been lava, yeah, molten lava from the Earth's core.
Actual stone. It was actual stone that was heated up. Yeah.
They're nuclear powered to get him hot enough.
Yeah, fucking no, but they were very. It's one of those things that you kind of always wanted when you're a kid, and then you hit the age of about 24, 25, and then you saw one of your friends had got one and went, "Yeah, they're not that cool, really, are they?"
Well, when you stop taking LSD, you mean?
I got another one for you that falls into the same category. Actually, do you remember plasma balls?
Yeah.
Oh god, no, they're quite cool though. They're amazing what you could do with a piece of tin.
Years ago.
Put tin foil on them. Put a piece of tin foil on the top of one and see what happens.
Yeah, I bet they go a bit bananas.
They go fucking nuts. It just it burns it kind of.
Am I presenting? Somebody says I'm presenting. I'm not presenting.
Sorry, yeah, I've got you. No, it's me. I'm
used to date a lass that had a lava lamp. It's not a start of a joke. It's very good mood lighting.
Yeah, I quite like them. I quite like them. Yeah, I quite like them.
For a 70s party?
If the moment took us.
When you have those parties where you throw your car keys in on the table, they're quite good.
Yeah, I had a Ford Fiesta then, though. So.
I never really understood the whole lava lamp phenomenon until I went to my mate's house and he turned on. It wasn't sexual. He put on a lava lamp. Passed me a joint.
Sure?
No, it wasn't. He's a lovely fella. We smoked some herbal cigarettes and watched Beavis and Butthead Do America. And then I watched a lava lamp for about an hour while Aqua's debut album was playing in the background. You've got terrible taste when you start
that's
going,
bad.
It's actually all right.
Barbie Girl and Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones.
That's the problem with the lava lamp. The other problem with the lava lamp is you kind of went into somebody's house who'd got one, and there'd always be one person who'd never seen one before, and they go, "Oh, turn it on, let's have a look," and you'd turn it on, and you'd sit there for like an hour and a half, and it'd be like,
do you know what's worse?
It takes hours to get going, doesn't it?
Oh, I want one.
Yeah. I just realised my story happened 17 years ago. That is shit. No, that's not true. 19 years ago. That story happened.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
Anyway, that's the lava lamp side of things. What did I have for breakfast? I didn't have any. I had dinner, and it was one of those. It's one of those sandwiches where you get 3 different ones in the packet. So I had like a BLT, a prawn sandwich, and a ham sandwich.
Oh, I know the ones. Yeah.
It was all right.
A triple.
I'm not a fan. They all taste of one another. I don't really like it.
Yeah, and they can be a bit bland sometimes. I think M&S sandwiches suffer sometimes from being a bit bland. How's my week been? It's been
Coronation Chicken back. Coronation Chicken sandwich filler. It's back at Marks and Spencer's. I highly recommend it. It's really good.
Okay. Oh my god.
We have that sometimes. It's not. We like that.
Yeah.
Is it yellow?
Yeah.
It's luminous. Jolly anything luminous.
Luminous. Anyway, how's my week been? All right. Yeah, not bad. Like you say, it feels like it's gone on for longer than it was. So
this show.
But yeah, this is just an extension of that now. Yeah. then yeah, what I've been vaping on. I'll do this very, very quickly because I haven't been vaping on much at all, really. I've been vaping on the Wasp on top of the by SV the Sabuff.
By the famous Facebook video man, live video.
Yeah.
For 2 days in a row now, Mr. Moxon, hasn't he?
Yeah, if you want to go and see somebody actually,
it's been riveting watching.
You know, yeah, if you're at work, if you're at work and you fancy watching somebody else work, then yeah, go and give Nigel a view. You know, it's quite good. So yeah, so I've got that little setup there going on, and in that I have got Planet Cracker from DB Liquids and Just Add Nick. Then the other thing, which I'm going to show you this, I'm going to regret it. Right, I need to change these coils, this coil quite bad.
Cake.
I'm emptying the tank. I kind of vaped it today, and I'm emptying the tank down. So that's getting taken apart and scrubbed.
You need to put it on Instagram and tag that Dirty Coils group page.
Yeah, I should do. I should. I took it to work today by mistake. I thought.
I do like that
to clean it.
Account. It's wicked.
It's quite good.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it actually. That one.
I'll dig it out.
Okay. So I've got the Therion 75C with the Origin 6 milliliter Origin and a bell cap and a signature tips on top, and in that I have got Carnival Celebration from Coil Vapes and Just a bit.
It's a Nick.
And then the last thing, just a Nick. And the last thing, I'll just get this out of the way now. This one has got Blueberry Fluff from Just a Nick and Liquid. You know? And I have got the OK from Chris Scott Mods, and I've got the Wasp on top.
I'll have to ask this live, Rick. Your wife wants to come on holiday with us. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Cool.
As long as she takes the kids.
What is going on? What is going on? I've got no idea what's going on. Right, hold on. Yes, I've got that, and I've got the Wasp and all that stuff. Really enjoying that. And then the other bit I got as well. The other bit I got this week was I got some battery wraps, and I decided because it was white, I thought I'm just going to get, because it's slightly clear, so I've just got some white.
Oh, nice.
So just straightforward white battery wraps, and they go in there. You can kind of see there's a slight difference in coloration.
eBay.
That's the side of the battery. Yeah, off eBay. Yeah, so you can get them way cheaper than you pay on eBay, but I only needed a few, so I don't, you know, £2 or something like that.
Was it a hairdryer job?
Good point. That's the other thing that I got. I also got, because I didn't have one before, but I got a little heat gun.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I got a little heat gun to go with it. So about 13 quid, and it's got a little stand on it, and yeah, it works perfect. So
variable wattage?
No, it just blows out. It just blows hot. That's all it does. Speaking of blowing hot, John's back. Yay! That's how grandmother. Yeah, so there's that, and then yeah, that's it. I think that's about it. So I'm going to go with Richard. How's your week been? What are you vaping on? What did you have for dinner today? Because that's important. Or lunch. So lunch. And when was the last time you stubbed your toe? Oof.
Right. Week's been challenging. Got a new camera, so learning how to use that, which to most people would be good fun. But I'm sort of trying to do these videos that I do, so it's been a bit hellish. Hence today's video. Apologies to anyone that saw that. what was the other thing? At lunch, I had coronation chicken baguette
Oh, good man. See? It's the coronation chicken.
and a packet of salt and vinegar Walkers.
Can't beat the old Walkers, I don't reckon, for
It
a
was
plain potato crisp.
Yes, yeah. It was a grab bag as well.
Oh, a big one, nice, big 50 grammer.
Yeah, just the right amount, that in it. Just the right amount.
Just for the Americans, that's Lay's. Lay's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They don't have the small bags like we do either, do they?
They're
50
from,
gram bags, that's standard, I
they're
think.
from,
It's only in England that we have to
Walker's
be
crisps are from
restrained.
Leicester, aren't they?
Yeah,
Walker's crisps are, yeah, fuck, they call them Malay everywhere else.
they. It's probably a pronunciation thing.
I reckon they couldn't spell Walker's, that's what it was.
Kept writing wankers.
Because crazy.
Believe it or not.
WAR, probably. Walkers.
Warkers. From Cornwall.
Let's just break proceedings 1 second. Transfer deadline day update. Bury have signed Josh Laron from Wigan. John Machinio has joined Oxford from Burton Albion, and Gary Gardner leaves Aston Villa for Barnsley on
What
loan.
is this University Challenge?
Raheem Harper's signed for Blackburn from West Brom.
Craig Derby.
University in Blackburn.
Hey, what? Hey.
So that's what I had for loan.
Arch in Suffolk.
That's the transfer deadline day update. There'll be more of those later on.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Lunchtime. Stubbed my toe. The last time I stubbed my toe, it's almost daily because our steps are quite slippery. They've been carpeted in quite a lavish way, if that makes any sense. So that happens. But you just get used to it.
I did that one. Do you ever run foot over with a door? I don't know. My doors are a little bit higher than a toe, just a millimetre.
Oh,
And you kind of, it's the reverse of stubbing your toe. You sort of stub the door on your toe. It's good.
no, ours are flush.
Oh.
Ours are flush. Makes
Very
that
nice.
lovely sound. I'm quite resilient to toe things because when I was when I was a child and I played cricket, they used to pull off my big toe nail.
Oh,
just
nasty bastard.
Every time it grew back a bit, they just ripped it off, which is nice of them. Yeah. So I'm quite, and standing on Lego when you've got kids as well. That's just after a while you just become so used to it.
We were talking about it. There's only one that beats it. There's only one thing that beats standing on Lego.
On a cactus.
What's
Oh,
that?
that's not bad. But I'm talking about in the bedroom, I would say, or in your house.
Standing on your balls?
No.
Standing on your balls?
I was going with standing on a 3-pin plug, which is something an American can't do.
Oh.
Not good.
It is unbelievable. I
Yes.
nearly called my wife the C word last week because she'd left a hair straightener's plug on the floor.
It doesn't give in, does it? You know, like everything else would like shift slightly or
No.
soften. It's just there.
Luckily, I didn't fully commit. I hadn't taken all my weight off my back foot. And so she just got, who the fucking, oh, are you idiot?
Yeah. Oh.
Bad times.
Oh. Yeah, that's not good.
Lunch, toe, and then just vaping is. Oh, I've done week. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am vaping on. I'm vaping on the Slider RTA from Fogworks, and designed by Pegasus from Pegasus Vapor Academy.
I wonder
he's getting his-
what's
What's
slidey?
bias like?
What's your slide like?
It's, yes, okay. So the slide element is it has quite a unique top fill. So you pull this up, and you kind of spin it until it lets you pull it all the way up, and then, hang on.
Wow. When's the review for this coming out?
Hang on.
Oh, it's not so much a slide, is it? It's a stuck. The new stuck RTA.
A yank.
Aha.
The young god.
You have to keep turning it until it's happy with you. But then, bosh.
Oh,
Top fillet, and then you go like that, and then.
So it's like a
and then
dual slide.
turn it a bit.
The slide and slide. I quite like it.
Yes, slip and slide.
The slip and slide would have been that would have been a good one.
Yes, I'm sure slide has been done before. The conspiracy that coming to later, that's been done before. Tobacco did a conspiracy RDA. Anyway, that must be the first people to have a copy of Tobacco. But yes,
what are they going to do? Sue for copying something?
So this is the Fogworks Slider RTA, designed by Pegasus. It is a very tall, and not compared to my thumb.
not a nano though.
Fucking hell, your thumb's massive.
Yeah. No, it is tall. It is tall. What's a good comparison?
It looks like the Christ to me.
Look, compared to that.
Is that Moonshot?
That's Conqueror.
Oh wow.
Conqueror.
No, Conqueror.
The second Conqueror. You know, when
The
they glassed
second
it
Conqueror.
up. The one that
Conqueror
wasn't a
2,
wheelie bin. The one that wasn't like a wheelie bin.
I know what you mean. We all know, but we can't remember.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Is it a stock coil or is it a build it
Single
yourself?
coil, a single coil RTA. It's kind of like it's kind of like a cloudier Serpent Mini, but not a lot cloudier. It's quite restrictive airflow. The airflow is only that and that, and you know, it's a long way to travel. Yeah, it's actually quite a nice vape, and you just wick it. You just chuck a tiny bit of cotton down each hole, and so it wicks. You can go as high as you want with the wattage. It'll wick very well. And it's got like sort of Serpent Mini deck where you put your coils in corresponding alternate flash. That's the kind of thing I do on my review channel.
Vogue.
What's your review channel called? There was somebody asking. Chris Bishop in chat said, "Where would we see these?"
Just
videos?
search for Todd's e-cig reviews.
Yeah.
Okay, Todd's e-cig reviews.
Yeah, so it's an RTA that is much better vape quality than visual quality, I would say. That's my first impression.
Looks all right, though.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
no.
You can't see it in broad daylight.
You can't see it. That would make it difficult to use.
No. You'll see in full HD on Vaping V1C.
What is that? Is it like HD?
No, HD was. Do you really want to get into this?
No, let's not. We'll be on types of bun in a minute.
And next thing I'm vaping on is the Clito XO. Oh no, juice! I want to tell you what juice I've got in here. I've got a really nice juice in here. I've got Own Brew Badass Blends Blue Slush.
Badass Blends Blue Slush. And does it taste like Blue Slush?
Yeah, I think so. That's that. Right. Next, I've got a Clito XO with Craig, help me out.
Bottle of juice. One punch.
Yeah.
One punch. Yes.
One punch.
By Mr. Blythe.
That's right. Really like it. I really like it. So I've got that in the XO, and on top of which the Smoant TS, the Smoant Sharon TS.
Is that an actual display? Oh, it is. Look at it. It's huge.
Yeah.
I hope when you open the box, it's got one of those things that you stick on the car window above where you drive that just says Sharon. Great.
Look at the screen. I can't remember how to work it.
Nice. You're just having a great night tonight with getting stuff working, aren't you?
Oh, here we go. Press that.
Crashed it.
Yeah, what blue screen of death?
It's, I've got to say, joking aside, that this is because I'm not a massive touchscreen fan. I don't really get it, but this just works so well. The touchscreen element of it works so well, and I really like this button here. You see the little button?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It turns off the screen.
Oh.
Oh,
So it's instantly, you can still vape it.
without getting.
So it's like a one-button lock, full, just carry on as you were.
We've got Mr. G Dibley in chat, whose comment on the mod in your hand was, like the fucking Matrix. That's what he said.
Oh.
You can use that in the review if you want. It's free. There's no copyright on it.
It's a bit matrixy. So let's turn it on. Way.
Oh,
And then you've got all this stuff going on. It's good. It's good. It's the best touchscreen I've had, definitely, by miles.
Yeah. The only bit that looks a bit weird is that whole curvy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Going on.
The screen section's sort of not the same size as the outer case, is it?
It's kind of got that bit like a curve on the top, hasn't it? Underneath has it got a curve under the 510? It looks like.
Oh yeah, it has got like a mounted. Is that what you mean? Raised up sort of.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a strange choice, but I guess they wouldn't have been able to get 24mm on there.
It's a big one, isn't it?
Look, that's another screen. Look at that. Look at all that stuff.
Heart monitor,
GCG. Heart monitor. pregnancy test mode.
It's a good discussion. I was saying to my wife earlier as we were driving, I wondered if you could get too fat to have a sonograph. I wondered.
Don't know.
I don't know. If you get real big, do they just send you down the zoo? It's nothing personal. I just wondered.
We're not talking about a specific reviewer or anything.
No.
They've had some big uns in that bod pod, haven't they?
Yeah, I just wondered.
Rick Waller's been in that bod pod.
I just wondered if it wouldn't work. If they kind of went, because they don't ask, they don't say, if you kind of go, you're booking your first scan and you come in, you kind of, I wonder if sometimes the lady in charge, or man, I don't know, goes, fucking hell. And they get James Herriot with his big glove out. I don't know how it works. I don't know. I'm not starting a debate, I was just wondering.
Yep. Good stuff. Finally, the SQ from Signature Mods with the Conspiracy RDA. Some really good reviews out for this RDA now. Inside there, I have this juice here. I don't know much about it. Can't get it in the UK.
Nata. Can't get it. Can't get it
in the UK, but it is good stuff. It's really good.
It's good. Canadian. Portuguese custard tart.
Which I don't think I've
very nice. Really
had one of them.
I don't like custard, but I do like this.
I don't think custard comes into it, is it?
It's got a bit of custard there. It's almost a bit not tobacco-y, but sort of a bit like that, isn't it? A little bit.
It's like a burnt egg custard.
Yeah, like creme brulee.
It's quite deep. Yeah, it's like quite deep, and it's almost like maple syrupy, but not.
I don't think I've had one in real life. I can't say.
No, I don't think so. Oh, they sell them in delis sometimes.
India.
Yeah, there's 10 a penny in Portugal then.
Yeah, much cheaper in Delhi.
The Portuguese custard tart.
Yeah, lots of Portuguese people over in India and stuff, isn't there? There's Portuguese went over there and settled in India.
I think it's a deli joke. I'm going with a deli joke. I like it. That's all they have. Sliced ham and Portuguese custard tarts.
Rick, how has your week been? What are you vaping? What did you have for lunch? And if you were to go to a bakery right now, what would you get from there? From a dessert-based style.
Okay.
That's a good question.
My week's been good. Yes, like you guys have said, it seemed like a full week, but it's only been 3 days.
Oh, whoa!
Another transfer
now
deadline.
Would be the time. No. Now would be the time that we swap over to Kelvin Guy's reviews, but sadly he's not on tonight. So I set an alarm to tell you that he's not actually on tonight.
Get well soon.
So just want to say hi to all the people who will be watching Calvin right now. We've got loads of stuff.
Welcome to the RDLM show. Welcome to the RDLM show.
Yeah. Sorry, Rick.
Good luck with everything, Calvin.
What am I vaping on? No, what has my week been? Week's been good, yeah. Lots of bits and bobs happening. A few little prototypes turned up, and more information in the future. Not giving away anything. Good stuff.
That is exciting.
What did I have for lunch? I had a chicken tikka salad.
Chicken tikka salad?
Yeah, and he bought some chicken tikka chicken and a box of salad, and I put them together with a bit of mayonnaise. Nice.
Sounds good.
Healthy.
Right, what am I vaping on? I am also vaping on Portuguese custard tart, which I only just juiced up the Atty half an hour ago. But I really like this. I really like this. It's not too custardy. It's manageable. If you're not a big custard fan, I think you can enjoy this.
Yeah, I said I'm not a custard fan. Normally, I just get totally knocked out by vanilla, but not at all. Yeah,
I'm liking that. And I'm vaping that in the Goon 1.5 on my little mechanical mod there.
I'll just say thanks again to Amanda and Toby who sorted that out. Toby from Natter, E-Liquid, and Amanda from Gaslight who sorted that out.
Yeah, really.
Send it to me so I could send it to you.
Thank you. Random.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, really nice. Yeah. What else? I've got the conspiracy RDA as well.
Hey.
Yeah, and do you know what? I really like it. It's really well made.
Oh, where have you put your coils? Oh yeah, on either side. Yeah.
Yeah, usual build that I would do. I think it's something you didn't mention in your review. I think it's silver plated.
Yeah, silver plated deck. Yes, it is.
It just everything seems a lot cleaner in there, even when you've got a bit of gunky juice. It just looks everything's clean and I don't know. It's
I was too busy going in and out of focus to explain details like that.
Everything fits well. I like the fact that you put it together yourself. There's not much to these atomizers. If you can't put them together, you shouldn't really be using one, I think. Because there's not much to them. But it's really quite nice to choose the pin, like you said in your review. Choose which pin you want and put it together so you've got an idea of how they work.
I can't understand. We've got somebody in chat who's... I don't know
Dr. Jeremiah... Doctor, I'm quite reading it. And Simon Peter.
See you later, Dr. Jeremiah.
Oh, keep him here.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm vaping on that.
I'm a religious man.
I'm vaping on that, and I think, the price tag's good on it.
Yeah, I agree. It's fair, isn't it? It's fair.
Yeah, it's well made. Yeah. It's less airflow than the Goon, but that's fine. There's a lot on the Goon, isn't there? It's still got a good amount of airflow. I've got Vince's tip on top of that.
Did you get the leads right first time, lengthwise?
Yeah.
It's much more forgiving than the LP, isn't it?
It's the LP. I mean, I think the LP is a good ATI, but not for builds like that. The problem with the LP was always that people thought it was a version 2 of the Goon, which it wasn't. It shouldn't really have been called a Goon, to be honest. The LP, because it was nothing like the Goon at all. But it's good for smaller builds, but not good if you're expecting a Goon. But yeah, this is on par. I mean, flavour-wise, it's as good as the Goon. It's probably slightly better made than the old Goon. Tolerances are good. Everything fits nicely. Yeah, really happy with it. So I have to say thanks to Anthony.
Yeah, Vapor Haze. Is it Vapor
Haze?
Haze?
Vapor Haze, yeah. That's it, for sending that down. That's I'd get one if I didn't have one already. So.
No, it's good. It's good. I really like mine.
It is, yeah. I mean, I saw you had it on the show last week, and I thought that's really nice. I'm going to get one of those. Had a look, couldn't find one. It just so happened 10 minutes after I was looking online for it, that I got messaged, and he said, "Oh, I'll send you one. We've got a couple of prototypes here."
Just ticks all the boxes, doesn't it? 24 mil, Goon tips, squonk pin and normal pin.
50 quid, not too pricey. That's good, really is good. Like it. In that, I am vaping on. I've got where was it? Oh, I've got some juice from my Cornish friends. Rebellion Pink Lemonade from my friends down at Vapes Direct in Cornwall.
Vape Tourette?
Vape Direct.
Oh.
Vapes Direct. Sorry. Vapes.
Oh. I was like Vape Tourette's. I was thinking that'd be amazing.
But
just kind of like just sitting there and vaping away and cool.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I'll get right bash through these because I've got a few in front of me here. A couple more. Rock Mods box with a goon on top, and I've got Voodoo Brew in that.
Nice.
Chris Scott Mods.
Oh yeah.
That lovely baby with the Cthulhu Gaia on top.
Yep.
And I've got a mango juice in there. And lastly, not least, another goon on top of my Tippy Mods squonker with my own mango juice in it. And look.
Cool.
And a nice bottle. Nice new bottle. What did I do that for?
Oh.
A nice silicone bottle inside there.
Well, yeah, it did look good, that.
That's me. That's it. We're all done, are we?
We are. We're only 47 minutes in.
So we're on to the news then.
It's only 47 minutes in.
John, you got some news? Any news, John?
I have got a bit of news. The first thing we're going to go for is young master Dave Groves of Planet of the Vapes fame. As some of you know, diagnosed with cancer a few months back, and he's been going through chemo recently. And yesterday marked his fourth and final round of chemotherapy. And I know Dave watches the show when he's got time, so I just wanted to pass on our love and everything else to Dave. And we will see you at Vape Fest 2018. We better do.
Absolutely will.
I'll see him before then. I will see him before then. And pass the love on.
Yeah, he wrote a really great. Anybody who's friends with Dave, pop over to his Facebook page because he posted a really great. He put up a really great post about the whole thing yesterday. So he's having.
It was good, wasn't it? He was saying how he had quite a positive experience on the ward.
Yeah, and he had me crying with laughter with his answers over the last little while. It's been he's been great throughout the whole thing, and we buy mods. Yeah,
I met him at the Nottingham meet, Craig, didn't I?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he's going to be buying a lot of mods. He said he's going to be buying a lot of mods soon because he's not been using any money on shampoo. So
that's true. Yeah, and no shampoo today. So in 6 weeks' time, when his immunity's come back, he's gonna have a scan, and we'll probably pass on that news to you. But get strong soon, Dave, and we will see you. Talking about Dave and talking about Planet of the Vapes. Planet of the Vapes have got a raffle coming up. I was asked to pass this on by Rob Stobbs. The raffle tickets will go on sale on the 2nd. Sales on the 29th. This is on Planet of the Vapes.
Yeah.
Winners will be announced on the forum and on Saturday morning, on the 30th of September. We are supporting the East Anglian Children's Hospice to raise a substantial, and they've got some amazing prizes, so hopefully they'll do really well. Dave Groves has actually helped put this together, and everyone's pretty stoked about it. So, as I said, the 2nd, Rob, or you're welcome to post on at the Ideal Home Show page, Facebook page. That's www.facebook.com. The Ideal Home page. You could
just very quickly. You broke up a little bit in the middle of that, but yeah, Just post up in the group anyway, and then just post up in the group anyway. And then...
Yeah. Rob, you're more than welcome to post it up. I was just, so if I don't break up now. So tickets go on sale on the 2nd of September, and it's going to run to the 29th. The raffle's going to be called on the 30th, and they've got some really great prizes. And that's Planet of the Vapes. But I'll move that one down in the thing and do it in a minute. That's just a discussion point, really. As we're all ex-smokers, it just pops into my head the other day. I come from a family of smokers, especially the men in my family. My dad smoked. My brother smoked. I smoked. My uncle smoked, my cousin smoked. It's very, very smoky family. Actually, I was the first one to quit. So my dad's quit smoking. I think my uncle has, but I'm not sure. And I wondered if it was like a thing. Do you two come from a family of smokers as well as you was? Craig, do you come from a family of smokers?
No, everybody else in my family didn't smoke when I started. You know, I was the only one. The reason I started was just I was at university and it just smoking too much weed at the time, and I just I'll just smoke these as well while I'm at it, and that was it. My dad used to smoke when he was in the army, many years ago. You know, be a good 40 odd years ago. But no, just kind of. I just left home early and went my own kind of path, and it included picking up smoking, unfortunately, for 25 years. So, yeah.
Richard, you are a family of smokers? Or Richard or Rick?
Yeah, my mum and dad smoked when I was younger. I think I started smoking. I pinched a few ciggies off my mum, I think, and then decided I liked smoking and spent my dinner money at school on fags every day.
I did that.
Yeah, every day, buy myself 10 fags instead of having lunch.
I remember when the budget had come through, I used to up my dinner money. So I'd say to my dad, "Dad, can I have £1?" And he'd say, I haven't got a pound on me. And I'd say, "Can I have 86p?" With 10 pence. Yeah. What? And I'd make it up. Like, that's 3 biscuits and a chomp from the workshop.
Yeah. What about you, Richard?
What's the question?
Are you from a family of smokers? It was just a discussion point. Really.
No, it was absolutely not. No one at all in the entire family, and it was very taboo.
I mean, none of my family smoke now, but it was only when I was a kid they did.
Yeah. Did your parents know you ever smoked?
Yes.
They did, yeah. We were kind of going through it. My mum found out when I'd quit because they were talking about it we were talking about the Ideal Home Show page a couple of weeks ago. My mum found out when I'd already quit for 5 years because my brother said, "I wish I could stop smoking like John." I was on the 7th floor, and she went, "I didn't know you smoked. I didn't know you smoke." And I said, "I don't smoke." Not what your brother said. I said, well, "I don't smoke now, but I used to smoke." And then a year later, 2 weeks ago, we were on the phone because I'd sent my brother a mod and some juice and stuff. And I said, I sent Andrew, blah, 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 blah. Hopefully he'll quit because that's how I did. And my mum said, "You smoked?" And I said, "We're not going through this again." You know, it's like.
It's the old Alzheimer's kicking in, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I did tell the story of how my dad found out I smoked, which was we were in the car driving along. I was 16. John, my dad was driving as in the passenger seat, and we were going to 2 hours. And we were driving along. My dad cracked his window. My dad had smoked little cigars, but he would smoke cigarettes if he couldn't get Cafe Creme cigars. But he turned to me and he said, "Give me a cigarette." I pulled the face. "What?" I went, "What do you mean?"
You cut out there. You cut out there where you said what you said.
Oh, sorry. My dad said, "Give me a cigarette," and I pulled the face of, "What? What do you mean? Give me a cigarette?" And my dad said, "Let's not piss around. Give me a cigarette." And I looked at him and went, "Can I smoke as well?" And he said, "You might as well." And I smoked.
How old were you?
16. 16.
All right.
It was just quite normal when we were little. I mean, there was the metalwork teacher at school. He'd say he'd come and join us. We'd go and have a fag break in the metalwork class at the back of the metalwork shop.
It was really normal. I don't think I had a friend. I don't think I had any friends at school who were like in my like who didn't smoke. Everybody smoked.
Yeah.
It's all terrible people. And none of us, only one of them does now. So 20 years later, only one person does now.
If anybody wants to cut that little section now where John said, I didn't have any friends at school, then that
it would also be understandable. I had the same hair as Gabrielle. It was kind of pretty twatty. Yeah. The other discussion point was, I think I've changed my view on the. I'll be as brief as possible. I was thinking about the future of vaping. We've discussed this many, many times on the show. I always felt that big tobacco was going to step in, but I think they've been kept on the back foot for so long. I don't think they are. And I thought closed systems were going to take over, but I don't think they are. And I think that the spark that sort of has helped everybody carry on. I know it's not popular, but I think Nick shots have been the spark that's carried this on, because just from local vape shops, I've seen them move to 10 mils and then back up to 100s with a Nick shot, or 90, you know, with a Nick shot or two, and it's all flipped back. And I think it's if everything carries on the way it is, if we do need more innovation, especially on this side of the Atlantic and in Europe, I think the mod makers and the to carry on but I think at the moment I think the future's not that bad.
I think it's hit critical mass. Yeah. Go on, Richard.
I'll tell you what, on holiday, it was all-inclusive hotels, got kids, so it's pointless not doing it. So it was kind of like a closed environment in a way. And there was 95% British people as well, I should say that. There was as many vapors as smokers.
Great.
But not a bad, but I'm just speaking words. They all had virtually the exact same kit, which was Smock Alien or Alien-like. Really? Yes.
Yeah.
And the tank. What's the tank? The Beast, the baby Beast, or
the
Beast?
TFE,
TFE.
You didn't see any Smock Aliens in the bin where they started misfiring?
No, but they were all doing that sub tank thing. You know, regulated sub tank situation.
I think if you're walking around,
they're today's Clearos, aren't they?
They really are. They've really taken that market, because these people, you know, they're not in any Facebook groups, they're not in forums, you know, they're not hand checking. There's nothing like that. They just seem to have got off on the whole sub tank thing. Oh, it's time for What's in Craig's Drawers.
I'm not doing What's in Craig's Drawers because we've got a shitload of news and I want to do the heat flux thing. We'll do it next week.
Carry on then. Fair enough. Next week, What's in Craig's Drawers? You can
find out next week.
I don't know what's in my drawers.
I was going to say actually that we when we got Simon and Mrs. Simon and me and Mrs. John went to Iceland this year. We got our flight cancelled, and there was a vapor in the departures when it got cancelled, ran out of liquid, and we happened to bump into the guy who runs an e-liquid company and the man who owns and runs 3 vaping shops. So he did quite well. We weren't out of liquid, And it was so completely different to, could you imagine if you're in the airport and someone came up to you and went, "You all right, mate? I've run out of fags and we're stuck here." You'd just go, "Fuck you, can't find some fags, you dick."
Yeah.
But instead, like going through liquid flavours, going, "What do you like? Are you more of a fruity guy?" and trying to work out what you want to kind of sort of.
But somebody mentioned, I mean, Schwartzy in chat just mentioned, but at least it wasn't a Vape or a Blue. I'll be honest, I've not seen many. I see more C4s and the Aliens, and
I'll tell you when I see them. When I see those type of systems, I see them if I pop into the shop, say I popped in to pick up a delivery or something, and someone's come in holding it, and it's totally honest, like real world stuff, come in saying, "I bought this piece of shit last week. Can I buy something else that works?" That is the only time I ever see them. I see them laying flat on the counter with an indignant person with their hand on it, and they're normally saying, "It's cost me 20 quid in the last 4 days. Shit, what else can I buy?" And that's just the blatant truth. Whatever, if they work for some people, that's great, but the thing seems to be, this is shit. How can I get rid of it?
Yeah. People in convenience stores and stuff must be baffled. They must think this vaping is not a craze. No one's into it.
Yeah. I think on that whole thing at the start, you know, your first point though, which was how it's taken off, and the fact that, you know, the big companies and the closed systems haven't taken off. I think in certain countries, I think it's reached a critical mass now that you just can't get away from bumping into somebody that's got a setup which is significantly better than anything that they've got. You know,
I think that's fantastic. I think it's amazing that this cottage industry has kept such people with these companies with huge capital so far. I'm going to say, I'm not hexing this, but so far they've kept these massive companies on the back foot, which I didn't see as possible, and it's been done. It'd be fantastic in 20 years' time to, or whatever happens, to go back and analyse what actually happened. Will be incredible. There are bits in it, and if you study business, it's an incredible thing to watch.
I think the main thing is with these big tobacco companies, we've got to realise is the ones that, I'm not sure, I don't know anything, I'm just speculating here, but do some of the tobacco companies own tobacco farms, and do some of them import tobacco?
Yeah,
they do.
Well, the ones that import tobacco are quite happy to plug vaping, but the ones that own masses of tobacco fields are trying to bring in crap like that thing that you poke the cigarette into, because they've got a load of tobacco fields.
Yeah, farms. But that tobacco, there's lots.
But they're still selling the nick.
They still can sell the nick. Yeah,
they're still selling the nicotine, though, aren't they? You know,
it's what they can get for it. But Rick's right. But Rick is there's a piece of, if you go back to a piece of legislation that's sort of on the back burner in Europe at the moment, which is the one regarding cigarettes, cigarillos, and cigars and things like that. It's all part of what they're trying to do is get a lower tax band, and you'll find that they're going to try and drop. I'd be very surprised if Imperial don't try and drop those stupid little cigarettes in there that get pushed into those dry herb vaporizers, because tax brand, it's Christmas for them, because they've not done that money. They're bleeding at the moment, and the more we cause them to bleed, the better.
Just somebody, Charles McDonald in chat, says China's helped as well, and I think they have, but you've still got to be able to market it. And the one thing China don't do is China don't market it. They make it, but they don't necessarily push it into people's hands on the shop floor.
It's something to be. I think it's definitely something to be very proud of, especially in Britain. And I think it's really something that we. I wish the hardware would catch up on this side. I do, though. Still, I think there are innovators in the UK who could work within this 2 mil thing and make some decent atomizers. Because name a British atomizer that came out in the last year that's innovative.
To be honest, I'd have trouble doing it for any atomizer in the last year. Any.
I just think there are people there. Come the fuck on. Come up with something, because there are some. I think there are. We've had some good drippers, and I do think we have. And I think we've had some good squonkinatties and stuff like that.
I think the future's really bright for vaping in the UK, to be honest, as a whole.
I absolutely do. But I just want to see the whole world
compared to the rest of Europe as well. When we come out of Europe, I think that's going to get grim over there in the future for vaping. There'll probably be even more legislation in the future for vaping in the EU.
What I would say is that I don't think it's the innovation is that at our point that, you know, with the people that we necessarily know. I don't think that's where it counts. It's the fact that over the past 18 months to 2 years, the innovation at the low end and the budget, below, you know, the 20 quid mark, that is significantly.
I think it's slightly higher than that. I think it's probably it's that 20 to 50 quid. To me.
Yeah,
is that
mid,
not
first
the garbage,
setup.
The mid.
Yeah, your first setup, if you go out and you look for a decent setup and you look at what there is, I think the innovation there's been amazing. I think that kind of started with the iTaste, the e-leaf iTaste. You know, when that came for a variable wattage device that cost fucking next to nothing and it worked, then I think that was a big step forward. And before that, it was a bit thin on the ground. Everything was a bit thin on the ground. Variable voltage was things like spinners and things like that. That's what you saw at the bottom end if you wanted anything with that. Whereas now, like you say, you go out and buy an Alien. You know, they're going to be, they make that many of them. They're so cheap now that you can just go in a shop and say, I need a starter vape. Well, have one of these. It takes 2 batteries. You're not going to use the other 200 watts. It doesn't make any difference, but it'll take, you stick an Atlantis on top and it's fucking perfect.
I don't think anyone over here can compete with China on the low end stuff ever.
Oh no, but the innovation moves to them.
Yeah, I do just think they need to. I just want to see something. That's all I mean. I just want to see somebody come up. Come on, fuck me. If that, I've seen German atomizers this year that have been a few different ones, especially that Mark's had. And I just think, well, we can do that. Come on. I know they're working on different restrictions. They're not held under the 2 mil, but fuck me. You know the parameters, work within them and show us something.
The thing is, though, don't you think that squonking is changing the rules, where you don't need tanks because you can use drippers now?
Okay, come out. Well, I do still think we need a tank. Personally, I think someone could come out with something. I think there's an open field to make a lot of money.
Yeah, there is. I mean,
there's always room for another good Atty.
Yeah, I mean, you look. I mean, what was
someone's posted something in chat just there? But I did say I'm not going to go over it. But yeah, it's got to be. I said innovative, and they're not innovative.
No, I mean, I'll say what was typed in chat. It's the Trillium, and it's like, you know, and it's not the Trillium is not an innovation in terms of what it actually does. That's not an innovation. All that is
how long has it been out for? 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 years since one of those came out. Exactly. The innovation is the bit in the inside. The bit in the inside.
I just want to see something. I didn't mean to cause this. I just meant, you know, whatever. Cleto's not. I said in the last year doesn't count because then it caused people are saying their shit. Sorry.
Yeah. It's like the roast V3 was, you know, it's good. It was a good time. And before that, you know, but the best one, you know, it's still the best one that was around, you know, from that we kind of did, and then it seemed to like stop afterwards, was that thing there, the Ubertoot of all the daft things.
Yeah.
And that was and nothing's kind of gone near that. I don't think anything's come anywhere near it. Out of all the things I've got, it's the one I use.
Somebody's saying, how can they possibly innovate with 2 mil? That's their problem. I'm not doing it. I'm saying, if you want to make some money, do it.
That's what everyone's favourite sub tank is, just because a little private side thing. But I'd be very surprised if anyone says a TFV8, which is what, like I said, everyone that's not into vaping but vapes is using.
Yes. Yeah, I think if you went
very surprised if anyone says that.
Yeah, our audience is not the kind of people who would say that, though, are they? They're not. Yeah, because. You know.
But they are really popular. When I sit in the shop, they are really popular. People come in for the coils all the time. People come in for these sub tank coils just constantly. You know,
and they work.
And they do.
They work.
Anyway, I think I have to kill that. I was only just trying to spark off a conversation, which it did, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yay!
I'm going to tell you the new liquid coming to Just Our Nick. I'm going to release it today because it's shipping today. fingers crossed. Or if not
Are you
tomorrow,
sure?
it should
Are you
be
sure?
with me.
Are you sure?
Am I sure I can release it? Yeah, I can release it. It's fine.
Are you
Sure you don't want to give a Scottish man the heads up to buy his fill of it before you tell him?
No, I can do that. I can do that anyway. Just lie to everyone else. Yeah, it's.
This is where we mute John just as he's about to announce it.
He's announcing it like he's part of a witness protection scheme anyway.
Am I really?
There you go.
Yeah.
But we can see what bottle it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I tell you what. If you want a better picture, get Richard and Rick to hold it up.
There we go. Just adding it. Coming soon.
It was looking very suspicious when we were all vaping it anyway.
Portuguese custard tart.
The Portuguese custard tart by Nata e-liquid is coming to from Canada via America to us at Just Add Nick, and so from next week we will be selling
exclusively in the UK.
Yeah,
exclusively, yes, exclusive in the UK. Nobody else is going to be having it, so we will.
And I don't think we've as widely agreed on one juice ever, have we?
I don't think so. I think it actually works brilliantly. I really. Amanda sent it to us to try, and I really liked it, and got to talking straight away.
I really love it. Really like it.
I do.
Really like it.
I've got to send it to somebody because they went, I really want it. So it's kind of sitting at work, and I haven't sent it. And
I'm liking it. No, I'm not even a custard fan.
Thank you, Toby, and thank you, Amanda. And that's
thank you, Todd in chat for saying
doing
it's crap. Don't buy it. Todd says it's crap. Don't buy it.
It's crap. Don't buy it because Mark is lying because it's probably it's the first in a long time. One of the first liquids in a long time he's actually bought a lot. So yeah, it's really good. And we will be selling it. I said I'll do like a run up as it gets here as usual, but I'm expecting mid to late weeks. So probably Wednesday, Thursday, but I'll start running up. Craig, news time.
Right. First of all, I'm looking at the time and thinking, I really don't know if I can fit this heat flux shit in.
Go for it.
I've got
Go for it.
Okay, I'll try and
happily drop all my news if it means heat flux.
No, God, no. We'll see how we do for time. First of all, Svomasto, and Mark might know the edge of this, but potentially they've released at least another 2 ATIs. There's the third, which is the 5S, which is on Creme de Vape, which is the 2 mil capacity K-Fun 5. That's so they have a 2 mil version of that. The other one they've got, I think there's an image there, is there, Rick?
Which one?
I think I've called it Prime. Yep. So they've got one coming out, which is the Prime. Now, from what I can gather, the idea behind the Prime is that it goes back to more like the K-Fun Lite and the KFL Plus, and so it's going. So this one is the Prime. So that's the one that they're going to try and go back to being a bit more of a proper mouth to lung tank, rather than taking
is that the 25 mil one?
No, that's the 22 mil one.
So obviously that doesn't exist. Obviously that's just a render.
Yeah, but this, all I know is I got this information from Dong Magnum, and normally Dong Magnum is truth. Yeah, he's normally pretty good as Dong. So
they've really
mentioned
I'm hoping that's a watermark on the tank, not actually putting that horrible gold thing on it.
No idea. But Eric is God when it comes to these. He's followed it round on various Russian and German vape groups, and he's kind of tracked its progress. And by all accounts, that's going to happen at some point. The other one that they are doing, the reason why these kind of leaked a little bit was they appeared on Origin Vapes by mistake. The pages for them went up, and now they've been taken back down again. Now, one of the other things that happened is that Google caches the results. So it means that when you had it there and then you took it back down again, Google had already spidered it with their search engine, which meant they'd already got the information there. So the other one, I don't have any pictures of, but they are releasing the K-Fun V5 Squared, apparently, which is going to be a 25mm V5. So it's just basically the same, but 25mm as the K-Fun 5. So
it's not going to have the 2 mil capacity then. So
no, this one's going to be like the full-on kind of. This is going to be the full-on one. So it looks like there's going to be 3 from what we can. Well, there's 3. The 5S, which is already out, which is on Creme de Vape and a few other places, and 2 other tanks that appeared on Origin Vape, the Prime and the K-Fun 5 Squared. So
they're probably not going to be available here, but available in Europe, and you buy them and import them then because they're bigger.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
if they're selling Germany, the German companies won't send them to us. So hopefully they'll go to France.
Yeah, or they'll do them through Russia, or they'll do them through some other place where they can ship them and then do what they do. But yeah, something's going on. Next up, Therion. Just very quickly, the Therion, the BF version, the bottom feed version, squonk version of one of these. The C is going to be out next week. I got word from Rocky at Lost Vape that they're doing those. So I'm kind of looking forward to it because I think it's a really good board and it'll be interesting to see how well it squonks. I think Todd, and if he's in chat, if he can confirm whether he's got one or not. He may have one. I think he does.
I've got one.
Have you got one?
Not on me. Allegedly, I've got one on the way.
Have you?
Apparently so.
Blimey.
Squonky 75C.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be immense. Can't wait.
Yeah. You really have got one on the way?
Yeah.
Fucking all the contacts that I give you, Richard.
I know, I'm very lucky. I'll send it to you when I've done.
I think that means great thing. One bit.
Yeah, I've just dibsed it. Thank you. Thank you.
You've dibsed it.
Yeah, that was it.
Did you mention a price on the Therion?
I didn't, I'm afraid. No, but I'd imagine it will be.
Just posted in chat 120.
120. Austin says 109. Yeah, it's around that mark anyway for the Therions are about 119, 119.
And Todd has just said 510 is better, not leaking yet.
Hey.
The other outstanding question will be the bottle situation as well.
The bottle.
Because the original Lost Vape Squonkers came with a very unimpressive bottle.
Mark.
Mark's
not going to tell us.
So.
Yeah, Mark can't tell us this because eventually he's going to have to do a review for it. You know, so we'll have to.
Oh, it's like
blood out of a stone. Watching it's like getting blood out of a stone as well. Next up, we've got Mooch. Mooch tested another battery, and this one is the 2650. Which is 20650. So we have yet another battery coming out. So we've got the 20700, the 21700, the 20650. It's like there's all of these batteries that are all around the same point. So there's another
Herbie
battery.
McCubbin just had a go on these. He made a mod the other day with the 2650. I think they're available on Ecolux. Norbert's got them.
Oh, okay. So that if you've got room inside of your tubes on things, then they'll fit. So, which is pretty good. Next, so I'll put a link to Mooch's page somewhere. But he follow Mooch. Just look Battery Mooch up on Facebook and go and follow him. Right, I've got this big, huge thing on heat flux in the middle of all of this lot, and I wanted to go into it just very quickly. And you lot feel free to just jump in and go, that's bollocks or whatever as I go through. But I just wanted to try and put a few bits out there as to what it was and basically the idea behind it. First of all, what heat flux is It's the amount. It measures the amount of energy, or it's a measurement for the amount of energy that comes off a coil for a particular area. Now, it's measured in milliwatts per millimeter squared. So if you have a piece of paper, let's say yay big, then it means for every single square millimeter, a certain amount of energy is being produced from it. That's the idea behind heat flux. Now, what you do is inside of a vaporizer, the heat that comes off that heats the surface of the coil up, and that then forces, it makes a particulate or a vapor above the surface of the coil from whatever liquid is on it, and then the air then takes that vapor off it, and it creates particulate, which is what you inhale and what you exhale. So that's what heat flux is. It's a measurement of what the coil is actually doing on the surface. Now, the other thing is heat flux is not the same as the heat capacity. Now, heat capacity is the amount of energy that a material will hold. So imagine it like a cup, for instance. So if you've got a thicker wire, then it's a bigger cup. If you put the same amount of energy into it, then it means that it's going to take longer to fill. At the same time, when you let go of the fire button, if it's, or in the analogy of the cup again, if you let the water out at a fixed rate, then it will empty slower than a smaller cup, which is the idea behind the wire. So it means thicker wire generally has a higher capacity, which means it takes longer to fill it up with energy, and it takes longer for that energy to drain away when you stop putting energy into it. Those are the two things, first of all. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, Tom's gone. Look at that.
I like the cup thing because that works. That permanently works as a metaphor.
Yeah.
Or a simile. Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of like its capacity, and it's its actual capacity, and that's the thing that dictates ramp up. That's the thing that decides how quickly the thing fires up. So it means if you've got a smaller cup for the amount of energy that you've got, or a thinner wire, it's going to take less energy to be able to fill it up to a capacity.
How does that stack up when you choose wire type then, Craig? Because obviously we know that nichrome is probably about half the resistance of camphor, and SS is in the middle somewhere.
That's why resistance isn't a great gauge, whereas heat flux is a really good gauge.
Yeah, well, you've got these two things, right, that matter with each other. Now, the difference in wire is there's like a ratio between the heat flux and the capacity. These are two different things. What happens is when you change wire, what you're effectively doing is you're changing this ratio between the heat flux, which is the energy that's coming off the surface, and the amount of energy that you need to be able to fill that wire with the amount of energy you need to make this happen at an optimum. So it means when you've got something like nichrome, let's say, it takes less in order to be able to make it go, you know, to make it fill up, which means that you get a faster ramp on it.
Because of resistance, there's less resistance in nichrome.
This is because of the capacity. The capacity is what's the right word for this? The capacity is decided by the material type. The heat flux isn't. The heat flux is purely a measurement of milliwatts per millimeter squared. That's all it is. What you're doing is you're changing the ratio of the capacity for a fixed heat flux. So it means that by changing the wire type, you're changing this value here. So it means the heat flux stays the same, but your capacity goes up or down, which means things like the ramp up changes, how quickly it cools down. So you know how you get more aggressive wire types. You can have the same heat flux coming off it, but it means it's going to fill to capacity quicker.
Right.
So that's the idea between the two things. But the material decides your heat capacity, whereas you know, and the density of the thickness of the wire decides the capacity. But the heat flux is something which is purely a measurement of what's coming off for each square millimeter of the surface area. That's all that is.
It's on a practical level. It's like when people say, if I'm dual coiling and it comes out at 0.25, I like 60 watts. But on my Atlantis 0.5 coil, I like 30 watts. It's the reason that there's a difference there, isn't it? It's because your preference will be a certain temperature of vape. That's ultimately where people why people are.
And the other thing with this is as well, which is, you know, when you talk about particular stock coils, is it's actually quite difficult to work out an optimum kind of setup for something like that. They'll say things like, oh, you know, this is best vape between like 30 and 60 watts. Whereas actually you'd like it to be able to tell you, hold on, this is what we've used in the inside of this particular stock coil. This is 28 gauge, you know, 0.32 millimeter thick wire of this type, this many wraps at this diameter. And then you can actually go, I can work out exactly what I should be vaping at, rather than having this kind of guess as to where I need to be with it, or how do I make it perform? Because if you've got a particular resistance with thick wire.
I got the giggles midway through your explanation. I lost it a little bit because a cam girl advertised in chat, which made me laugh. It was just it was quite good. I booted her straight afterwards, but it made me laugh because it was like, yeah, he's talking about wire and voltage and stuff, but come on. Posted it.
So right in the middle of all this, look, Angsty just sent me a message saying, "Oi, question for you." I'm like, oh, fucking Angsty, you're a twat, right? But I love you, really.
Those tanks, when they put those, or the coil head, when it says on the coil head, I wonder if all they really mean is can wick up to.
I mean,
when they say 50 to 70 watts, I think they mean beyond that it's going to get dry.
The thing is, though, even if you know what your coils and everything can go to, it's all dependent on the juice as well.
That's another factor but that's a factor for wicking. That doesn't affect these actual numbers that you're dealing with. You know,
no,
if you've got,
no, of course not. But there is no optimum for an ATI or a coil type, because if you vape in 12 milligram as opposed to 3, you might want to vape it at 15 watts instead of 50. You know.
Yeah, but all I'm trying to describe here is not a preference thing, a subjective thing. I'm trying to put this as, this is what these two things actually do in terms of the physics of them. So it means that you've got something you can go off. Then if you decide that you want to vape cooler, that's entirely up to you. You know, this is one of the things that I've got in here, which is the next kind of bit that I've got. It's
probably worth mentioning Steam Engine, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this Steam Engine have done something remarkable, which helps out a shitload. And I'll share this on the screen because they've made a huge leap forward with what they've done. Now you can see here this. Before, what they had is something pretty simple. You could do things like changing the wire type. You can do things like changing the thickness. You can build your coil. But what they did is they've added something down here, which is really, really handy, which is this heat flux down here. Now, when you're building, before what you used to have to do is you used to have to change to another page, or you had to fiddle around with your resistances through your Ohm's law in order to be able to make the amount of watts that were coming off, then go back and work out the calculation for watts. So it means if you're using unregulated, this helps out no end, because what you can start to do now is you can start to look at something and say, right, I'm using 0.5 gauge nichrome 80 with a single coil at 0.5 ohms, and I know that I want a heat flux here that comes out between 200, 250. I'm just muting John for a minute, sorry, mate. So you can do something which is going to come out at between 220, 230, but what you want is something which is going to settle in at this bottom value down here, somewhere around about 3.9 volts.
So do you think that if this could get a bit more understandable for the layman, this could possibly overthrow us using wattage on a regulated mod? You could possibly be turning your heat flux up and down, and the board does all the calculations and sets the voltage.
If you did that, you could do something like that, where what you said is, I want you to calculate out for me what they are. But what you'd have to do that is you'd have to program Steam Engine and what the wire is, the thickness, the inner diameter, all of those things. If you could program them into the board and say, this is the exact coil that I've got, you could then say, I want 220.
Yeah, but there must already be.
HF 220.
You must be able to already determine the heat flux numbers from resistance and wattage already. There must be a formula there to calculate.
You need to have to type in your airflow as well.
No. Forget the airflow bit. The problem is this: is I can create two coils that are of totally different wire thicknesses that will produce the same resistance. Because what you can do is you can say, I'm using 10 wraps of 28 gauge, let's say. And then what I'll do is if I want to halve the resistance, or I want to create the same resistance, I can say I'm going to do 5 wraps of 25 gauge. Okay. Now, what happens is, because I'm now using thicker wire and the surface area calculation has now changed because I'm using a different thickness of wire, the diameter's changed. It means I can't use the resistance to be able to do that.
Gotcha.
I have to have knowledge of the surface area. I need that knowledge of the surface area to be able to say, if I can program in the thickness of the wire and the type of the wire, by rights, you should be able to work out the resistance then. You know, if you know the resistance and you know the wire thickness and you know the wire type, then you can kind of calculate out what the heat flux is, because you know from that how much wire in terms of centimeters was used inside of it. And because you know the thickness of the wire, you know the surface area, and then you can calculate the heat flux.
It's a no-go in a mod then, because no one's going to put all that information in to their mod. It's too much, isn't it?
Well, that's the interesting thing.
For anybody who's having problems with the flux thing, just to say, if you're in chat, Sarah says, naked girls.
Hey!
Oh, win. Yay.
Live naked girls privates.
How do we get that then? a2girls.ga.
Wow. Okay. Somebody go and visit it for us. You're the guinea pig.
Yeah,
So
I'm on
let us
it.
know how you
I'm
get
going on it now. Here you go.
I'm having a look now. I'm going to have a look
There
at Tamara.
Oh, God.
Tamara Wilson.
Are they
So,
live?
If it's actual porn, don't put it on. Okay, that'll do. That'll do. Yeah.
Okay.
they always have a rubbish backing track, don't they?
That was way better than Kelvin's show.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm
bookmarking it. Yeah, stick it in that group chat, Rick. Please put it in that group chat. So that's
Staring at three
the idea
cushions.
behind heat flux. Yeah, so that's behind the idea behind heat flux. Right now, I'm going to race through these. John, just behave. I'll get there in the end. You lot can join in on these because this is kind of a different.
You're
thing.
on news now, are we?
Yeah, we're still doing it. We're still doing things. I'm still on heat flux, John. I'm still.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're on news.
Right. Right. Other things to remember when you're dealing with this is that your atomizer that you're putting coils into and your style of vaping are the most critical things that you've got. They're more critical than any heat flux. They're more critical than the resistance. They're more critical. Go on, John. There you go. Work to those first and calculate everything out using those first, because those are the most important things. It's great having a coil that performs and does all these various things, but if you haven't got the airflow for it, then it's useless. What else have we got in here that's kind of useful? So while John plays guitar, if the airflow isn't adjustable, then build to the airflow. That was the other thing that I got in the notes here that I just think is kind of an important thing. One of the other things that somebody made a video on the other day, one of the other reviewers made a video on, and it was regarding coil placement. I then watched the video, and it turns out the video was all about spacing coils. Right. Spacing coils doesn't make a huge amount of difference. It really doesn't make a huge amount of difference. What it does is that a coil will heat up itself alongside it. So as you've got a section of the coil is actually heating up, then it will heat up another section of coil next to it. You twat. I'm gonna, what's this? I can't eject you now. So there you go. Right, there you go. I'm gonna take the control room off. That's what I should do. So it's kind of right. It's just me and you now, Richard. It doesn't make any difference. It might make a difference in terms of how it suits the airflow on the inside of it, but in terms of its actual performance, it doesn't make any difference when it comes to heat flux or your wattage or anything else. It doesn't make any difference. It counts for your airflow. Putting the coil inside of an atomizer, try and put it as close as you can to the fucking. I'm looking at these pair and what they're doing. Rick's wearing all his hats. Here we go. John's got his 3M eyebrows. Makes your forehead look quite small now. Can't do I'm going to stop now because I'm not going to be able to do it without watching these lot. Just go and play with Steam Engine. That's the main thing more than anything else. Go and play with Steam Engine. And if you're going to start telling people what coils you're using inside of an atomizer, please, please, please let us know things like the inner diameter, the amount of wraps that you've done of it, what the wire is, all of the useful information, because if you don't tell us that, it's just fucking useless. So anyway, I've had enough because these pair will just carry on doing this. I'll do it as a separate video. What I'll do is I'll do it as a separate video and stick it on the channel, because I can only touch on it lightly and it'll take me fucking hours to go through all of this stuff. But if anybody's got any questions, well, then coil spacing is for TC. Right, one last thing. Coil spacing is useful for TC. That's it, okay? And you don't have to make it big spaces. You can make it little, tiny,
I totally agree. And
spaces.
if you look at people like Paula Jankowski, who uses TC all the time, you'll see that she uses space coils.
Yeah, best way when microcoils and touching coils are no good for TC, really. It causes too many irregularities with the resistance.
Then again, when it was with nickel, then what actually happened was if you got annealed nickel versus other different types of produced nickel, some of them would and some of them wouldn't, depending upon the nickel type. So again,
nickel, you mean?
Yeah, the tempered stuff and the annealed, there was a difference between the tempered and the annealed, so it meant that there was kind of so that's all it does. It doesn't make any difference inside the atomizer once it's done. It's not going to affect any of those other kind of.
To be honest, there's no reason to use those anymore. You can use stainless steel, and it's for TC. It's 10 times easier. Don't fuck about that. Nickel is shit. It really is shit.
Yeah. The one other thing that I got on the bottom of this lot, which I just wanted to put in there, which is that the reason why I don't use temperature control or temperature protection. It's an average of the coil. It's an average of the whole coil. Now, on an atomizer, and Rick, and well, I mean, you'll all spot this, which is on a coil. When you heat a coil up, in the middle, this one's nasty because I've got to rebuild it. But when it heats up from the inside out. Okay, so it means that the inside is going to be hotter than the outside. The other thing that happens is that the far side of that coil, the bit that's away from the airflow, will be warmer than the side which is facing the airflow. So on a coil, the hottest point is the center on the far side away from the airflow. The coolest point are the edges on the side that's facing the airflow. Now, there could be a massive difference in temperature between that center on the far side and the edges on the near side to the airflow. It's just an average. So it means if you're setting your coil up for 440, there's every chance that one part of your coil may be running at 500, 510, whereas another part might be running at 390, 380. So just be aware when you see all of these things saying, I've been told to run it at 440 because if I run it any warmer, then it produces nasty substances. The chances are your coil is already producing nasty substances by that point, because one area on that coil will be hotter than that and another part will be cooler than it. And that's the reason why I just don't, it's an overcomplication. Temperature control for me is just an overcomplication of something that it doesn't really make any difference anyway. So,
I mean, the bottom line is adjust your power to taste and enjoy it.
Yes.
But out of pure interest, I do recommend people go to that Steam Engine tab for heat flux. Put in your standard RDA build, because everyone knows what it is, and just see what heat flux number that produces, and just purely store that in your brain. I think I think you'll be very surprised when you come to a new tank or something like that. Rather than doing 5 or 6 builds before you zone in or tune in to your perfect vape for that tank, that knowledge of the heat flux will actually, I think you'll find, you'll end up back at that same number in the long run, ultimately. So just out of pure personal interest, just put in your classic standard favorite build into that calculator and just see what number it produces. But yeah,
Richard,
I'd wager. Are we doing that, are we?
I
Yes.
think so. Yeah.
Right.
Charlie.
Okay, so we're starting a new thing. We're starting a new thing on the group and on the show. It is going to be the Ideal Home Show Hall of Fame, and it's going to be a brand new thing that we're doing on the group and on the show. And all the details have not been finally tuned yet. We haven't decided on all the details, but ultimately, the way it will work is on a Tuesday we will open nominations for a vaping item, a legendary vaping item that has widely been agreed to be a very good, prominent, game-changing or whatever, or just widely loved item. We'll have a poll. We'll have a poll on the day after.
We're after David Bowie, not Robbie Williams.
Yes, yeah, not Life Through a Lens, but Ziggy Stardust sort of thing.
No, yes, that's what we're after.
Letters to Hermione, not Millennium.
But we'll iron out the details on how we're going to do it, won't we, later?
Yes, yeah. So we're going to do.
Richard, that's older than you are.
Oh, it's my favourite song. I don't like music.
I thought you
What's your favourite song, Richard?
Letters to Hermione by David Bowie.
That's on. Yeah, it's on Space Oddity. Yeah, fucking.
Oh, I thought you didn't like music, Richard.
I don't. I only like 5 songs. Yeah. So on a Tuesday there'll be nominations. On a Wednesday there'll be a poll. On a Thursday we will officially decide on the show if an item is going to go into the Hall of Fame, the Ideal Home Show Hall of Fame, and on a Friday we will celebrate that fact as well. And it's going to be a new thing starting next week.
Yeah, and we will be the final arbiters as to whether it goes on there. So even if it wins the poll, it might not make it in there.
Absolutely.
It's qualified.
All 4 of us have to be unanimous for it to get through. Some weeks everyone will go home very disappointed, but we genuinely want this thing to be, whether it ends up as a ladder, table, an official just gallery. We want it to be. We want it to mean something. We want every item on there to be officially rubber stamped by you guys and us that it is a bona fide Hall of Fame thing, just like a bit like the boxing Hall of Fame or whatever, So that's a new thing coming soon. Let's do we have a Twitter account of the week or anything like that?
Yes, we do actually, and I think this is one. I think all 3 of you will. It'll suit John's perverse sense of humour down to a T. I think that's that'll do the one. Right, somebody did a small dump, they've called it, of unethical life hacks that appeared on Imager. So these are unethical life hacks. So we will go through these. So here you go. Number 1 is, when buying something on Craigslist, send a bunch of insultingly low offers from burner emails, then a reasonable offer with your real address. They'll usually accept it. I think that one kind of works. This one's particularly for John. Spill some of your drink on the seat in front of you at the cinema to prevent anyone from sitting there.
That is
good idea.
That is really good. I like that.
Great. Buy an extra small popcorn and just throw it on the seat in front of you.
Yeah, I might even use that.
I'm having that.
The thing is, though, nowadays you're allocated seat numbers in cinemas, aren't you?
Oh, doesn't matter, does it?
But you can still spill it on the one in front. They'll still move.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, fuck them. Yeah.
I hate
we have. In a major city where daily parking costs are super high, find an auto shop with an inexpensive tyre rotation offer. Take up said offer, but say you have some errands to run and you can come back later and pick it up later that day. So
good idea.
Yeah,
I got one better than that. I got one better than that because my dad used to live on a private road with car parking charges. It was worked out about I think it worked out £85 a month. So his neighbour bought a old skip for about £300, and he got a skip permission from the council, which is free, and then he parked his motorbike in the skip for a year. Fucking brilliant.
That's quite good.
A high five. Loved it.
I like that. Right, next one we've got, which is buy an item at an electronics store, open it, return said item, check back in a day to see if it's in the open box table, buy it again for this time for 30% off.
Love it.
Yeah, that takes up, you run the risk there a little bit. Right, here you go. Next time somebody gives you, you find one of those fake dollar bills with a Bible verse on it, put it in the collection plate at church. That's kind of good one.
I do think, fuck you. I've seen people give those as tips on Reddit, and I think you are a cunt if you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, God, that went down the wrong hole. Right, next up. Baby on board. Buy a baby on board sign, regardless of your parenthood status. If you happen to be in a nasty crash, paramedics and firemen will save you first.
My dad thinks that if you've got one of those in the back of your car, you're a psychopath. Because he said, how the fuck would that do anything ever, is what he said. Like, you would, like, like in a crash, if you got shunted, what would you do? Like, get around them and kill the pensioners. He just thought that if you've got them, my dad's thing was you're a psychopath.
Yeah, the key is in the word accident. No one's ram raiding cars. Like,
exactly. So the only time
this is preventative for the boy racers, isn't it? That they might think twice about riding.
I just don't think so. I just think
they've got kids. They would.
Yeah. Anyway, next up. Try to tell a few lies, but do it really poorly. Confess to being a terrible liar. Do this periodically for things that don't matter. Actual lies go undetected. So it means
I do that. That's a classic technique. That's in actual literature.
Yeah, so kind of do that one. Next up, when receiving a call from someone that you don't want to talk to but must talk to them, tell them at the beginning of the conversation that the phone is about to die. Then you're free to hang up whenever you want without seeming rude.
Good one.
I'll give you another one as well. If you know you're about to get into a conversation with somebody who goes on and on and on and on, as they're about to start speaking to you, just say to them, "Oh, by the way, I'm waiting for a phone call. My phone's on silent." And once they've got on your tits, just do the reaction as if your phone's vibrating and go, "Oh, sorry, just give me a minute," and then walk off. Done that. Works brilliantly.
There you go.
I've got one as well.
If you have a flat
one.
Can I do mine?
Richard.
Yeah, go on.
If you're on a bus or a train and you don't want people to sit next to you, when someone comes on, just stroke and pat the seat next to you. 9 times out of 10, they won't sit there.
I've got a little one that my dad told me once, and it was quite a good one. It was, if you don't like doing something, do it badly.
Yeah, the classic washing up one.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah. My wife doesn't. My wife didn't fall for it. She fell for it for about 6 months, and then she was like, "When I was actually washed up for my mum when I was about 15, and just dropped the tumbler on the floor, and I was banned from washing up forever by my mum." And then I tried a similar idea with my missus, and she just said, "No one's that fucking stupid."
Right, next up. If you have a flat tire, take a picture of it. Next time you want to bail on an event or just skip work, send the picture to the person you're bailing on and enjoy your free time.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Like that one. It says, if you have to bury body, dig twice as deep, then bury a large dog halfway above it. That's brilliant. Because they'll dig it up and go, "Oh, it's only a dog."
It's a dog. Don't worry about it. Put it back.
Yeah. Don't call into work sick. Call in saying that you have family problems. That's the end of the discussion.
That's true.
This one's got. I like this one as a single person. Make sure a street hooker is not a cop by asking if you can take nude photos of them. Paying for nude photos isn't illegal. An undercover cop will say no, but a prostitute will probably do it for the cash. Like that.
I do remember seeing that tip some years ago, but it was slightly different, which is take the prostitute back to a motel, set up a camera and tripod. It's illegal to make a porno. But it's illegal to pay for sex. So. But I kind of, you're very dubious at who's that tip for.
Looking to buy a car, search the obituaries for phone numbers and call inquiring about a vehicle. They'll want to liquidate assets and give you a great price. That one's a bit of a grim one. Here you go. Lots of noisy children playing in your street. Post posters around your neighbourhood warning parents that there's a known predator living in your area. Parents will quickly lock their children inside.
That is pretty good.
So there you go. Yeah, I kind of like that one.
Do you post pictures of yourself and put known predator?
No, it might not work though. Your windows might get broken. So that
True.
might be a problem. Yeah, just take somebody you don't like down the street. And
Do you remember when? Totally true. I remember this as well. Do you remember when the Sun were printing the addresses of paedophiles? And an angry mob fuck out of a paediatrician's house. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That actually happened. I remember that. You can Google it. Actually happened.
I didn't need one of them. I didn't need that list because I had a pedometer.
yeah. That was. I took a picture of the front of the Daily Mail on a Sunday once because it said it was the Ian Brady's into the. Ian Brady, not Ian Brady. Oh fuck, who was the Sohn killer? Ian Huntley. Ian Huntley practices the occult in jail. And I posted it. I took a picture. It was great. And I put, no, I don't like. I put, oh, I don't like him now. I posted it. Now, but bonus, free pedo meter at the top. Like you're going to read that and go, oh, I quite liked him before. He's quite a charmer, but now, not so much. Not so much.
Yeah. Right. Have we got a mod showcase before we wind up, or?
I got a very quick one. Should we go on
Right,
for it?
do it.
That time of the week again.
Right, I've got so much news to roll over into the next one.
That's
Are we
all.
saving?
There we go.
Hey.
I've got one mod to show you guys this week, and it's from a guy called Mark Morris. Nice lad. We all sort of know him. I know him. And he's making some very nice things. So let's just put it on showcase. He's got a video, so I thought I'd show his video of it. Let's play that. What do you think of this? He's making a few of these now, and I think they're rather special.
I've had a fondle of those, and they're very, very nice.
Yeah, so I didn't see him at
I'm really
Fest.
glad to see Mark still doing the mods actually, because I remember when he first started and he was posting on his face. I think it's really great.
That's gorgeous.
He had them. He had two of them with him at Expo, and he had a squonker with him as well. And it's really, really, really nicely done.
Yeah, it's pretty special, isn't it? He really does take time, and he even lacquers them actually to seal the shine on there and everything. Like 7 coats of lacquer and polish, and he goes to town on them. But yeah, it's really nice. I quite fancy one of those.
Yeah, I do. That's
Oh.
all right, that's all right.
Pretty special. So yeah, that's all I've got for Mod Showcase this
Moving
week.
picture as well.
Yeah,
Oh, how do you do that, Ray?
it's a YouTube video. No, it's not. It's a Facebook video. But no, that's Mark.
www.facebook.com.
Facebook.com. Yeah, and if you want to see more mod showcases, go on to mod
And
showcases.
if you want to, or if you're on the Ideal Home Show page, go up to the top because we've added mod making to the top of the preferred
suggested
group.
groups.
Have you?
Yeah.
And we've added the mod showcase group to the top as well.
Oh,
So
I've
they're
had,
right at the
funny
top of
because
the
I've
page.
added the iOS one to my mod showcases.
Yeah, we added it to the top of the group as well. So if you scroll to the top, have a look at the admin's preferred groups, and you can click over and kind of look at those mods.
Time for a quick troll.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's finish on a high.
Yes, go on. Let's finish on a high.
Come on, we're
We're
filming prostitutes in motel rooms. We've finished on a high.
I'm still watching these cam girls.
I'm trying to find a dog to bury.
Okay, so I decided to go for A-list Twitter trolls this week. Apparently this was Oprah Winfrey's first tweet ever. She said, "Hi, Twitters. Thank you for a warm welcome. Feeling very 21st century." And Shaquille O'Neal from basketball fame said, "Your caps are on, by the way."
Trolled by Shaq.
Trolled by Shaq.
Jack.
And that's, yeah, it's not a great way to feel 21st century, is it? You're making a standard keyboard blunder.
Yeah,
No,
he's
but
shouting.
Yeah, not good.
Bet she immediately hired a publicist. So next,
Like that was her that posted that.
Okay, so
You've got a caps lock. You've got a caps lock.
okay, so this was someone attempting to tweet Frankie Muniz. Your acting is just awful. Sorry, but it is. Yeah, but being retired with 40 million in the bank at 19 has not been awful. Good luck moving out of your mum's house before you're 35.
Brilliant.
Next one. Okay, so Louis C.K.'s he's up there with the Twitter hierarchy, I would say. Tracy Cretian? I don't know. Want to date my grandma? Louis C.K. No, but if you leave her out on the lawn, I'll drive by and throw a Chinese food at her. Seriously.
Seriously.
which is a nice spot, and it's real coming from Louis. If he was close enough, he'd do that.
Yeah, huge fan.
Very good.
There we go. A-listers can get involved as well.
Oh, there was a really good James Blunt one as well, where somebody went and posted to him. It's, it's a sad day for two reasons. Not only Diana, but James Blunt won an MTV Music Award, and he actually posted back. His post was 2, actually.
He can give it, can't he?
He's fantastic.
Yeah, I was say not a fan of his music, but do you know what? He's got a game. I like him.
Yeah. Has anybody been seeing these Gordon Ramsay? I keep seeing these compilations of Gordon Ramsay. I think it's Instagram. I think no, it must be Twitter. I think where people send pictures of their dishes and he just slates them. Have you seen that?
No, you did tell us about it the other week, though.
Oh, I'll try and find some for another show. Funny as hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's about it. I think
as long as your internet doesn't crash and whoever's running the show and we're not left on air, we'll be all right. That was fucking amazing.
I know I've been demoted this week. Craig's taking the mantle because I
think he was just giving you a week.
It showed because I've left various people on when it's been other person's slots. So you've just got Rick sitting there like that, just as the main person for about 2 minutes. So he's gonna, it'll make for interesting viewing, I'm sure. So. Anyway, go on then.
Thank you very much for watching the Unethical show. We'll see you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday.
4 takes.
See you next Thursday.
4 takes.
And
4 takes, John. 4 takes.